All right, y'all. Welcome back to 10 Talk. This is part two of winners and losers of this past NBA season. We got the Western Conference now. If you watched part one, you know we got the Western Conference Finals.
We still got Kobe in the game. Kobe ain't going nowhere.
LA will be here forever.
Mamba.
All right. I do have my Lakers hat that if you guys watch some of our other content that I wear often, I did not wear for this video because I recently got a haircut. And so we gonna let the hair breathe for a little bit and let y'all maybe see it.
So we're gonna start with the first team. This makes me sad to say
that they're the worst team.
It's not. Does it make me sad to say that they're the worst team? It makes me sad because I just think about the devastation to my city of Oakland, to the Golden State Warriors, because we lost them, we lost the Raiders, the A's aren't looking too good, and that's just my hometown, baby. So even though I'm a Laker fan, because Kobe was my inspiration in life, the Warriors are still my heart and my soul because that's just where my home is. And it just hurts that Oakland is losing everything, and the Warriors are getting a W for this season because it ain't their fault. All they all-stars was hurt. They did with the best they could with who they had, which was a bunch of D-League players. Leave them alone. Next season will be better. They got Wiggins, and next season is going to be dim.
I give them an L, and I just don't see Andrew Wiggins helping them. I really don't. Andrew Wiggins was one of the two reasons that the Timberwolves were not very good. The second one being Karl-Anthony Towns. You can wait, hand down. I'm a big Andrew Wiggins hater. Maybe that's where this is coming from. But I see him being more detrimental to what the Warriors do than constructive and positive. So for that reason alone, I have to give them an L.
I think it's definitely a W because you're seeing with the Warriors team is that they're lacking depth. Like that's one of their biggest problems. And then they got all these young guys. They found some good people from the G League that could probably contribute to their team next year. They have the second overall pick. They might trade that. They might take a player. We don't really know.
Too egotistical for this team.
What ego? What do you got an ego for? He ain't won nothing. You can't have an ego and be a loser. And the reason why I think Andrew Wiggins is a good pick is because Andrew Wiggins is going to become Harrison Barnes when they first started to become the dynasty. And Andrew Wiggins, I believe, is a more versatile scorer than Barnes. And he will attract more attention than Barnes ever did, which will be important since Klay is coming back from an injury, Steph is coming back from an injury, Draymond's coming back from an injury, and they have a bunch of G League players. Like, I feel like and then they still have one of the best front offices in the league, and they're gonna make the right kind of moves to be able to be effective next season. Y'all stop sleeping on Curry. Stop sleeping on Curry.
Because Shamar, you're talking about Andrew Wiggins. I think because the culture for the Warriors is much better than the culture for the Timberwolves.
The culture for every team, okay, almost. I can name only 4 teams that I think have a worse culture than the T-Wolves. So but
the Warriors have one of the best cultures in the league.
But the Warriors have a top 5 culture.
Yeah, I was just saying that, like,
they might be top 3. They might be top 3 right now.
You said the Warriors have a better culture than
the T-Wolves.
And I was just saying, like, yeah, I mean, so does everybody else.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
See how culture changes.
He'll be a more effective player because Andrew Wiggins, he still has he's still like 25, 24. I don't know how old he is.
Yeah, he's not very old.
He's not old at all.
And then he's like, I think if you get him with the right people, you see like Jimmy Butler, he wasn't able to get much, but I think that's because the best player there was Karl-Anthony Towns, so they kind of went more with Karl-Anthony Towns than Jimmy Butler.
He's 25.
Yeah, I still don't agree with that. I didn't agree with that when he was in Minnesota. I still thought Jimmy Butler was a better basketball player than Karl-Anthony Towns.
But Karl-Anthony Towns is a franchise player because he's much younger than Jimmy, and then he was drafted there, the number 1 overall pick.
Yes.
So
That I will be.
So I feel like he hold more weight.
And
Yeah.
he was also probably still their most versatile. Jimmy Butler was definitely the best, but Karl-Anthony Towns might have been the most versatile. But I think Towns has the ego. I don't think it was Wiggins. I just think Wiggins sucks at defense. But I think Towns has the ego. I think he's quiet about it, but I think he has a silent ego.
Okay.
The fact that they made the trade for D'Angelo Russell to appease him because they don't want to lose him. I feel like they are, especially after they traded who else did they trade that was his Rocco?
Yeah.
Who was his friend? Like they are trying to keep that man happy, which usually means it's hard to keep that man happy. You see with the Bucks, they don't really do too much because Giannis is happy. Like, even though they should be making moves to make sure that Giannis is more successful, they don't really make any moves, and they don't have to because Giannis don't really trip.
Until this season.
He didn't trip.
All he said was, you got a wall, some people go around it, I push through it. The only thing he really tripped about was the Malcolm Brogdon thing. So, like, he made a tweet, he was like, imagine this team with Brogdon, like, in, like, the middle of the season. I think that's the only thing he's really, like, upset about.
I don't think he was upset about it. I think it was just like really just him sitting there. It's like, man, if we had Brogdon, I really don't think he's that. I don't think he's not I know he's not a diva.
Yeah.
And I feel like Towns is a quiet diva.
Okay.
I mean, Towns really can get like 20 and 12, like and 25 and 12 anytime he wants. He's a bucket.
Right. And 25 and 12, and then let the other player get 25 and 12.
Andre Drummond, he might get 25 and 30.
And since the Timberwolves were the next team to talk about, we've talked about the Warriors and the Timberwolves. Great. Yeah. Timberwolves get an L, Warriors get a W for me.
I'm giving both of them an L.
I mean, I don't know. I think I really have to look on this draft because, you know, I don't really watch college basketball at all. Like, I watch March Madness a little bit, but between school and watching the NBA, I don't really watch much of college. So I don't know much about the college process, but they do have the number one over pick. And then every draft, there's an all-star. Like, every draft, there's an all-star. Like,
right. And every draft, there's a bust at the top, and every draft, there's a all-star at the bottom. And you'd be like, well, what happened to him?
Right. That guy was number 13.
That guy was number 43.
Right. Jokic was 41. And, you know, we saw what he did.
Jimmy Butler was what, 30th in the first round? He's the last pick of the first round?
I think, yeah, something like that. Moving on.
Even a guy like Tyler Hero, he was 13th. And, you know, we saw what he did in the playoffs. So, what?
He said, try to remember 59 names. Try to remember 59 names. You can't. But yeah, moving on to the team that I'm very shocked ended up at this low in standings. And it's not because I'm shocked because I thought they would have a better record. I just realized how tough the West is next season. Next season, oh my God. Because the Pelicans are the 13th seed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And that's because they're a young team and they struggled in the seeding games.
In the beginning of the seaon, but I'm saying
they
like
have a team.
They went on like a 15-game losing streak.
Like,
yeah,
because they still had a chance to make the playoffs even with all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Zion being healthy and Lonzo being able to throw him lobs, their offseason, I feel like is going to be the one that I look at the most kind of to follow. Because I know they're going to bring back Brandon Ingram. That's a given. But what are they going to do about Favors? Are they going?
Yeah, I didn't realize how young Favors was. I really thought Favors was like 35. I'm not going to lie.
Ain't he like 29?
Yeah, I thought he was 35. I'm not going to lie.
You see, another thing with that team, that kind of gave me some,
Redick is the oldest person. He's like 31.
that kind of gave me some scares during the season. You know, I'm a big Lonzo fan. One thing that I liked was this season, we didn't see a lot of, you know, like little injuries, minor injuries that keep him like, you know, he'll go 2 weeks where he doesn't play and then he's back on the court. And then, you know, he goes another week and a half for something else. You know, that's one thing that you can really look positive at is the fact that
That man 36.
JJ Redick.
Yeah, so Lonzo
He
Ball.
got black in him.
So Lonzo,
Did JJ really got black in him? Because there's no way he's 36.
you got Lonzo Ball
That's wild.
being able to actually stay on the court, which is positive. Then you have one of the big positives is Zion Williamson was able to get back on the court, and you saw that, you know, he was picked off right where he left off in summer league. As long as he could stay on the court, you know, you can expect big things from him. Brandon Ingram struggled once Zion came back, so I hope they can work out those chemistry issues and, you know, figure that out, because before Zion's return, Brandon Ingram was on a tear, and then Zion comes back and he's still scoring the ball, just way less efficiently. I don't know, you know, whatever it is, teammate chemistry issues that need to fix.
It was the break.
No, because Zion came back before the break.
Barely.
Yeah, barely.
10 games before the season got canceled.
And however many games it was, as soon as that first game Zion played, Brandon Ingram started going downhill.
Well, I mean, it's always an adjustment when you add like such a high score to your offense.
Whatever the issue was, I hope they can fix it. I hope it's not like Brandon Ingram and LeBron James, because when they played together, Brandon Ingram just could not play with LeBron. That's simple.
No, LeBron couldn't play with Ingram. That was the problem.
Whatever.
What it is Ingram needs to be the number one option. Ingram needs the ball in his hands. Ingram needs to be the one making decisions for himself. He can't rely on someone getting him the ball in his right spot. He has to create his own right spot.
He's like a rhythm player. Like he has to get into his own rhythm.
Yeah, and with LeBron, you have to be whenever you need me.
Microwave.
You low-key got it. Yeah, like a microwave. Like just, hey, when I get you the ball, just make sure you score. And that's just not the type of player Ingram is. But I feel like the bond that, you know, that they will, because they all they're all young. They all Lonzo, Zion, Ingram, Josh Hart, like Jackson Hayes. Because Jackson Hayes, once he gets a better, he gotta just get his NBA IQ a little bit more together.
I really like him in summer league.
He could be nice. Jackson Hayes has the potential to be nice. He has a high motor. He's got that elevation, so he can really turn that into a defensive presence. He's a rim runner, so he's always a threat to get that lob, you know. And with Lonzo in the game, throwing lobs to Zion and Jackson Hayes all game, like
from three-quarter court,
it could be scary. And like I said, with Favors, you don't know if they keep him, if they let him go. I would keep him.
Then you got Drew Holiday,
who I would let go, and try to find a better piece. But
that defensive back,
but that's rough.
Was scary this past season.
Yeah,
because even if you get a switch, a guard-to-guard switch, you go from being guarded by Lonzo Ball to being guarded by Drew Holiday.
Which ain't no better. Because Drew Holiday plays defense. He clamps up. Lonzo Ball is just kind of long, so he irritates you. Lonzo clamps up, but it also helps that he's long and he's just big. He's lengthy, and so he knows how to use his body. Drew Holiday ain't got nobody to use, but he just not gonna score. Drew Holiday is a Patrick Beverly type defender. Like, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Oh, you thought you was going left? Yeah, you're not. I'm here. Moving on to the next team. Oh, I'm getting a phone call.
All right, the next team is the Kings. You know, I'm a Kings fan, unfortunately. And the Kings, you know, they're not it. You know, I've been kind of down on them ever since they didn't draft Luka. Then they fired Dave Yeager. and then they regress under Luke Walton. And it's a major L for me because they regressed. They went backwards. They didn't make the playoffs. They have the longest playoff drought in like sports history, not even like NBA history, like sports history. Like they have like a 14-year playoff drought, and it doesn't look like they're going to get there.
Well, although they had some positives this year, letting go of Willie Cauley-Stein. Now they don't have 15 centers; they only have 14. So that's a positive. But other than that, yeah, they still get an L from me. I was expecting a lot more of Marvin Bagley, and although you can't control injury, and you can't do anything if you're not on the floor. I don't know, man. That was just disappointing. So I can't even blame him for it because, like I said, you can't control injuries.
And then before Vlade Divac got fired or stepped down from his position, he did not pick up the option on Harry Giles, and now he's an unrestricted free agent, which doesn't make sense. You have someone who's on a low contract, like why not pick up his option? He said he did it because he's trying to teach him a lesson. I'm like, that's not how you teach someone a lesson, by declining their team option for like $1 million.
But yeah, so
the
they
Kings
get an L.
trash.
They get an L.
L. I agree. Whatever I was talking about, I walked back on the conversation at exactly what I want to talk about. How do you let Harry Giles just go, especially when he was playing like a boy? Yes, he got injured all the time, but it's $1 million. You're stupid. They also gonna get an L because they didn't get rid of Buddy Hield before giving him that contract. I would have never gave that man the contract because I knew he was a crybaby when he was crying about the contract in the first place. Then he gets on the court and starts to play trash, and they replace him with a better player, and he complaining, but he still got that big contract, so he need to be playing. But of course, I will say Luke Walton does make some questionable coaching decisions because although he is not the best shooting guard on their team, that is Bogdanovic, I will say when you are down by 3 points and you have the 3-point contest winner on your team, you put that man in for the last play to let him shoot the three. Or at least let him attempt the three. At least put him out there so people think you're going to give them the ball for the three so they get worried and so someone else is open. But you at least put him in.
Yeah, I don't like Luke Walton as a coach. I like Dave Yeager, and, I'm not there. Okay, the next team is
the Spurs.
Okay, we kind of talked about them in the last video, but we'll talk about them here again because it's a different video. Shawan, go ahead. You're saying something?
All right, man. So the Spurs, for me, get an L. So they come into this season with a young DeJounte Murray, cool, nice defensive-minded guard, can score the ball. He can has great passing vision. I like that about him. But they're never really gonna do anything until they decide what they want to do. Their 21-year playoff streak just ended, so now they have to make that decision. Are we ready to finally go into rebuild mode and let DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge go? Or are we still in win now mode and we need to go maybe ship off some of these young pieces and build the team back up? They need to decide if they want to win now or if they want to rebuild, because I don't think they know.
I think they have to have. I think it depends on what Pop wants. I think if Pop's like, I'm gonna continue with the coach, I don't think they rebuild just out of respect for him and everything he's done for that franchise. Because he shouldn't he's not a coach that should be on a rebuilding team. He's still a good enough coach to do that. So if they're gonna rebuild, Pop needs to step down, retire, and then they need to hire a new coach who's new and so they can do that.
Becky Hammond will be the coach. I promise you, if Pop decides to step down as the coach and Becky Hammond is not the new head coach, I will make a video by myself if I have to.
by yourself.
But no, Spurs definitely need to figure it out. It's an L for me. They're a great franchise, but they're kind of stuck in no man's land.
Middle of the pack.
They have
What?
Aldridge, who is on the decline. They have DeMar DeRozan, who's on the decline. Then they got a bunch of young point guards because they all their best young players are point guards. Derek White
Murray.
should be a point guard.
DeJounte
Murray is a point guard. Brent Forbes should be a point guard. Lonnie Walker should be a point guard. They're forced to play these dual point guard kind of Suns, old school Suns when they were trash, and they had Eric Bledsoe,
Goran
Dragic,
And Isaiah Thomas.
And Isaiah Thomas all playing. Like, they just have an issue where they need to figure out their roster and figure out what they're doing with that roster, because they have too many point guards and not enough anybody else. All their best young players are point guards, and all their other best players are old and on the decline. Jakob Poeltl, whatever how you say his name, I actually think he's a good player for that team, and he could work either if they rebuild or if they want to, push for, relevancy still. But as far as everybody else, it's just like we need to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. So should I?
Yeah.
The shots that I took, wet like I'm booked. What is our next team?
The Phoenix Suns, and honestly don't know. I feel like it's a W just because they ended on such a high note, but they look trash for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
but
I get a W because, to go undefeated in the seeding games, even if they weren't able to get a playoff spot, they were just too far behind. But, that just shows.
And they went 9-1 in their last 10 games. So the last 10 games, they won 9 of them.
And that just shows that they have the potential to play winning basketball. They just got to figure out what it was that triggered that in the bubble and find out how they can bring that to the regular season and bring that confidence every night. Like Miami Heat are never going to show up to a game unconfident about the situation or about the outcome of the game, no matter who they're playing and no matter how many people they have injured who aren't playing. They just need to find that confidence and go out there and play some basketball. Also, they have a high draft pick that should really help.
Yeah, they have a top 10 pick. And you can also say in the beginning of the season, DeAndre Ayton had the 25-game suspension.
Yep.
And he's like their second best player. So you can say that really derailed their season. Mm-hmm. And then they picked it up later on. So that you can say, well, that's why they're more of a winner, because like they had that thing. But yeah, I really don't know if they'll be able to keep this up. I don't think they'll make the playoffs just looking at the West. But
yeah, the Warriors coming back full strength. So that's another team you got to worry about.
The West is ugly. It's just everybody in the West is a threat to make the playoffs, literally, except for maybe the Timberwolves and the Kings and the Spurs. And the Spurs, you can't ever count them out because you still got Pop coaching.
I mean, the Timberwolves could. They have the number one pick. You don't know what they like. They have talent. And I really like, what's it called? Malik Beasley from the Nuggets. Let me go.
That was a good pickup. For them. So moving on to the Grizzlies, my boy
Jaren Jackson.
Jaw Dropper.
Oh,
Jaren Jackson. Jaw Dropper. That's a W.
Triple J's in the chat.
Even though they start out as the 8 seed, and they ended up not making the playoffs and not even being able, losing that potential.
They don't have enough vets
to get that. I don't even think they don't have.
They don't have enough people with playoff experience. They didn't have that guy to say, "Hey, this is what we need to do to secure this spot that we got and keep it." Trailblazers, they had that. Dame been there, CJ been there, Melo been there. They knew what they had to do to get that spot.
I just think every other team knew what they had to do to get them out of that spot.
Because they had a playoff experience.
I don't think it has. Honestly, for that team, I don't think it's the playoff experience. I honestly just feel like they're just young and got outsmarted.
And then Jaren Jackson Jr., I think he missed like the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
But I just think they got outsmarted. I just think the other team's IQs were better than theirs, and they were able to take advantage of that. Because honestly, but Ja Jopper, that's a boy.
Yeah, that was a really good pickup for them.
He low key could be my favorite player in the next couple years. Like that man is vicious. I really like me some Ja Jopper.
Because Ja Morant, he played really well. Because even though they didn't make the playoffs, he led them to relevancy, which they really didn't have before. And they're in Memphis, they're not in a high market, but he brings excitement, which like should help like the ticket sales and all that. You know, if you ever get like fans, you know.
And like just players want to play with good players. Facts. It's just what it is. Like players want to play with good players. And when you got a team like that, especially that team that's young too, they have a lot of like the same kind of young, intense hunger from that team that I see in like the Celtics. I don't think the talent level is on the same level as the Celtics, which reflects, their positions in the league. But you have Ja Morant, you got Dylan Brooks, you got Justice Winslow now, you got Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark is the boy. And, I feel like Valanciunas, he's their veteran rock in their presence. He's their
he's their consistency.
He's the one that keeps them all kind of like, obviously I'm not in the locker room.
But probably keeps them from getting too high, too low.
He's the one like in the locker room that kind of keeps them like even keeled and focused. Even though I feel like those are still focused players, they're still young, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like every now and again they still gonna want to, have a certain demeanor or excitement about what they just did or what's going on with them, or pay attention to what the media might be saying,
because it takes
what their stats look like and everything. But when you're that old and you've been in that league for that long and you already kind of know who you are as a player and who you are going to be like regarded as a player in history, like things become very simple. And I feel like for him, it's very simple. Would I like to see Jaren Jackson Jr. and Clark be able to run together for extended minutes? Yes, I would, because I feel like that'd be nasty. But I feel like Valanciunas is worth keeping, even though there's a lot of trade rumors or not really rumors, people saying that he should be traded to kind of fit the mold of the team. But I would keep him.
Okay, so moving on to the Trailblazers, I give them an L because they're kind of stuck in like mediocrity, like continuous first round exits. They had the conference final perks with the Warriors like a couple years back, but
last year.
That was really last year.
It was literally.
It's still an L. It's still an L. We're talking about this season, so it's still an L for me because I don't feel like they have much room for improvement. I mean, they have Anthony Simons. He's like a solid piece, and it's not John Collins, it's Zach Collins, but he's always injured and he can't stay on the floor. So we don't know if he ever will be able to stay on the floor or he just continue to be played by injuries. But yeah, I think the Blazers get an L from him. Like they got into the playoffs, they stole a game from the Lakers, but I don't feel like they're really gonna do anything this next season.
It's a W on my side. They were able to get Melo to let go of the ego that hindered him in OKC. But I mean, I can definitely agree that they don't really have much room for improvement or like going up from here. Like, where do they go from here? So they're kind of just there. I don't know.
It's hard for me with the Blazers because I want to give them a W and an L.
Yeah.
Because they obviously show grit and determination in getting to the playoffs, especially my boy Dame Lillard, Oakland's finest.
Lillard.
Dame Dollar. He's got many names. But that boy Dame Lillard, that man is Oakland strong, Oakland tough. And I just really appreciate, just the kind of also just the take no prisoners. I don't care what you think. Like, it is what it is, bro. Like, from him, that's just, the same mentality that, I've just been around my whole life, because that's, like I said, Oakland's finest. But I do feel like their roster or their team has potential to be better than they were when they played the Lakers in the playoffs, because the problem was Nurkic was coming back from an injury, had been injured all year. Zach Collins was coming back from an injury. He had just came back from the injury. Damian Lillard was
exhausted.
Bro, he just couldn't do it no more. I don't think that he got outplayed in the playoffs. I just think he was too tired to play in the playoffs. He was averaging like 50 points to get into the playoffs. He was exhausted. He just couldn't do it all. And CJ McCollum had a broken back. It's like this team.
And how does he have a broken back and still gets buckets? I don't care what nobody say. They get a W just because CJ McCollum is just nice.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel like they just had a rough circumstance in getting into the playoffs and for this season, because the players were hurt and they didn't have, who they full strength team the whole season to really gel together either to get a chemistry going. And next season, everyone comes back on new and fresh and able to ball. Whiteside is we're gonna actually get to see kind of what that Whiteside Nurkic.
I want to see Whiteside
rotation figures out. And I just feel like the Blazers are going to be a better team next year and still might not make the playoffs again, because every time I look at the West rosters, I'm just like,
yeah. And then the thing with Whiteside is, I think this is a contract year that Whiteside is entering, and we all know how Whiteside likes to play when he's due for a contract coming up. So I think he should play really well this season. Other than that, I think we can move on to the Mavericks. It's the W for me. No explanation needed. That's all I'm going to say.
I want to give them a W, but I'm also going to give them an L. But I'm giving them an L because they disappointed me, because I wanted them to take care of Paul George and Kawhi for me. I want them to be able to beat them, because they really could have. My man,
Porzingis got injured at the end.
Yeah. I know all that. I understand all that, and I understand why. If it wouldn't been for Porzingis being hurt and them, I feel like they would have done it, but they didn't. So it is an L, because oh my God, I wanted Seth Curry to go to the Western Conference Finals in place of Steph. I wanted a Curry in the Western Conference Finals.
Look, I thought I was one of those people who honestly had the Clippers going to the Western Conference Finals. I think
everyone was.
With Kawhi Leonard being on that team, with Lou Williams being on that team, I thought Paul George was on that team. If that was a team that was going to be able to handle business.
Pandemic P.
I thought that was a team that was going to be able to handle business against this young Dallas team. And I thought that they were going to also be able to get through Denver. But as we saw, they were down by 30 points at the end of the third quarter and came back and won the game.
We'll get to them. We'll get to the Clippers.
No, but yeah, so I mean, you can't help but give the Mavericks a W. I'm like I said, on an emotional level, it's an L, because I wanted them to win and I wanted them to go further in the playoffs. But when you have a player like that boy Luka, where he playing like a 55-year vet in the game. And you
like when he said it's easier to score over here than in Europe, he wasn't tripping.
Like, when you see that, just him play, like, that Mark Cuban is one of the best owners in the world.
Yeah, Luka is like one of my favorite players to play. Cause like the thing with Luka is like he's not fast, but he's like deceptively fast.
Quick.
Like What he do? He gets back. He gets past someone and he puts like them on his back, and he doesn't let them like get away from his back. So
he's
like if
smart. He's
Yeah.
a very, very intelligent player. He doesn't have to play fast because he makes everyone play the way he wants to play. He literally controls the pace of the offense. And it doesn't matter if he's going fast or slow. You're playing his pace and you're slower than him because he's out. Because he already knows what he's going to do before you know how he's going to do it.
Question.
And then Kristaps, that man, he is a number one option.
He's a unicorn.
He's a number one option that's always hurt, which has forced him to be number two.
No, but I got a question, should I?
Yeah.
What has 8 legs and is the reason their team gets a W for the season?
8 legs.
Yeah, he lost me.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Spider Mitchell. 8 legs because Spider has 8 legs. Come on, Shadai. That school system is failing you.
I don't even know we're in the Jazz, to be honest.
We moving on.
But the
Yeah, I
Utah,
thought we were still on the Mavericks.
the Utah Jazz get a W for me. Donovan Mitchell
They
came out.
blew a 3-1 lead.
Whoa. That is facts. But Donovan Mitchell let us know
Hey, he still scoring 50 points.
that he really does this. Jamal Murray just does it better, but we'll get to them later. They get a W for me just because, number one, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have been hanging out again. So you don't, as a GM, you don't have to make that decision like, I have to get rid of Rudy Gobert now because you don't get rid of Donovan Mitchell.
And after this one.
So you don't have to make that decision anymore because it seems as even if they can't get back to a friendship, they can get to a mutual, we want to win games and we know we need each other to do that like Shaq and Kobe did. So I give them a W just for that.
I say, and I know a lot of people hate comparisons, especially players themselves, but I feel like Donovan Mitchell is the second coming of my boy AI, because that man is just a problem. He is just a problem. And it doesn't matter how small he is, he's a problem. He will drive.
I have to keep reminding myself he's 6'1" and not 6'4".
He will drive it on you and he will dunk it on you. He will pull up from 3. He'll take it mid-range. He'll go in and he'll do a layup and you won't block. He finds a way to score. No matter what you think you're going to do to stop him, you can't do it. But he plays his game. He never lets you make him do anything. He makes all decisions on what he's going to do. And whether it goes in or out is based on him. And it usually goes in. I do feel like that team is missing a piece or 3. I feel like
they also in the
I feel like Donovan
didn't
Mitchell
have Joe Ingles.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like Donovan Mitchell and Gobert are great players. And Joe Ingles is a great spot up shooter who can put the ball on the floor. Because he's an intelligent IQ player as well. His skill level and his athleticism isn't really, the best, but he's able to be effective with how he is as a player. He knows who he is and he knows what he can and can't do, and he does it effectively and successfully. But I still feel the Nuggets were the better team, even though the Jazz pulled off to that 3-1 lead and how great they are. I feel like the Nuggets are still the better team, including with, their bench rotations and everything. And so I wasn't surprised that the Nuggets came back from a 3-1 deficit, but I was surprised that the Nuggets came back from a 3-1 deficit because I didn't think Donovan Mitchell was going to let it happen.
Yeah. And see, that's when you're like, man, you already got 3. You couldn't win 1 in 3 more tries?
Yeah, that's the reason why it's L from the Clippers team. They're not as expected. I mean, you don't know how the Clippers match up with the Jazz. I think
the Jazz. I wholeheartedly believe.
I wholeheartedly believe the Clippers beat the Nuggets, but
I wholeheartedly believe Paul George was going to play for the Clippers this season.
Okay, it's hard. If Paul George would have played better, or played at all, we'd be having a different conversation right now.
Thank you.
But I've been saying for a long time that the Nuggets are rough because I believe the Nuggets were the second seed last year in the West.
First.
They were second. Because LeBron was first. I mean, not LeBron.
The Warriors.
The Warriors, yeah. The Warriors were still first.
Okay.
But the Nuggets have been teeter-lining on greatness for a while now, and they don't get a lot of shine because Denver is still a small market. But they have been playing very well for a long time. And so
they adjust very well to like people getting injured. They're like next guy up, easy. They said, "Oh, we don't have anybody to play the wing positions. Bobo, you want to play small forward? Go ahead."
The only thing about the Nuggets is I think they have to do a better job at front running because they're not. They're not good at front running. They play from behind a lot. And besides, they had the last 5 of the 6 playoff series were all game 7s. They had game 7 against the Spurs last year. I forgot who their first one. I forgot the Blazers last year, the Clippers this year, and the Jazz this year. So they played all these game 7s. So they're not getting leads and taking series command. I think if they want to get to that championship level, that's what they have to start doing.
I also feel like Michael Porter Jr. could be that player possibly. But I feel like he is still kind of immature.
Yeah, you see what he said about the way they share the ball.
I honestly don't have a problem with that.
I have a problem. That shouldn't go to the media. That is a locker room talk. That should never come out to the public.
I feel as if the only reason why I agree as a player, I would agree, but as a fan, I just feel like the media. Okay, what is the point? Stop asking these players questions when we know they're not telling the truth. What is the point? I don't get it. So every time a player is bold enough to tell the truth, I'm like, yes. Thank you. Let us know. You want the ball more. Great. Talk about it. Stop asking these players questions you know they're not going to give you a real answer for. You're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. Stop doing it.
Hey, did you lose this one or did they win this one?
What? And so, because he said that, like I said, as a player, I would agree. Bro, you don't go talking to other people about that. Let us know you want the ball more, and we'll talk about it. But when he said that, what happened? He got the game-winning shot and he hit it.
Yeah, he really backed up his talk, and because he provided extra scoring for them, which they needed. Because they were doing a lot of Jamal Murray and Jokic pick and rolls, which it was very effective, but they needed something else to get the offense rolling. I think in the future we'll see a lot of Michael Porter Jr. I think he'll win Most Improved Player next year. I don't know how they're gonna count bubble stats in Most Improved Player, but yeah, but no. I don't know how we got in the. Oh yeah, I do know how we got in the Nuggets. So I'm just saying now.
Finish the Nuggets. I'm gonna say the Nuggets get a W, because of what they did and who they showed that they was. Jamal Murray is a boy. Jokic is, an all-star.
Oh boy.
Star.
Whoa! You saw that way he lost?
Hey, he lost on that way in between the break. I was like, oh, it's gonna be rough. That's when I knew the Nuggets was gonna be tough. When he stopped being doughboy and stopped being boy, I was like, oh yeah, we get to see the real Jokic now. But yeah,
definitely.
They get a W. And like I said, with Michael Porter Jr. and then also with just being able to see Bobo play in the bubble seeding games, as yes, they were hurt, but they also kind of throwaway games because they was gonna make the playoffs regardless.
Yep.
But getting able just to see him on the floor and kind of see how he plays, that's something I feel like if he gets, some strength on him, he could actually contribute for an NBA team because he throwing dimes.
And he can be a very
he hitting
effective pick and
threes.
popper.
Like I feel like he's got it. He just has to get a little bit. He got to get a little bit stronger, especially since he still moves like he plays center. Like,
Yeah, you gotta get your weight up.
yeah,
You gotta
'cause
eat some more bowls of cereal or
It's-
something.
it's hard to teach quickness, especially when you're that big. So he has to get stronger to be able to.
They're gonna have to put him on a
To
Charles
match up.
Barkley diet.
He's got to match up somewhere. You know what? Y'all need to leave my boy Chuck alone, okay?
No,
Guaranteed.
extra food so that he can stay at his weight. They upped his calorie count, his sugar intake.
When they had a 6'5" man playing center, when they had the bad boy Pistons still in the league, you had to do something to the boy.
So that's what they need to do with Bo and say, hey, look, eat this, eat this. You eating how many calories a day? Double it. But who's next on our list?
I'm moving on to the Thunder. They get an L for me.
Oh,
And
Whoa.
Thunder get an L for me is because they played too well for what they are trying to do. They are trying to find a way to rebuild, and yet and still they want to be the 4th seed. You don't get high draft picks as the 4th seed. You can't rebuild. I mean, you can, ask the Spurs, but it's harder to do it.
Sam Preston can do it.
And I say it's an L because they obviously have tried to rebuild by trading Harden and Westbrook.
They got SGA.
So they failed at they
Paul
rebuild.
George and Westbrook.
They do get a W for being a shocker of the season. They get both from me. They're one of the teams that get both from me.
There are 15 teams in Western Conference coming into this season. I had the Thunder at 16, so they get a W for me just for that reason.
I didn't have them that low, but I had them low. There's like 13 for me.
So they get a W for me. You know, SGA came out on ball. For those of y'all who don't know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. Chris Paul played really well.
Point guard.
But who expected anything less from Chris Paul?
Bro, I had a conversation with a bunch of
Dennis
people,
Schroeder, 6
and
man.
they say Chris Paul is not a superstar in the league because he's not a top 5 player at his position.
Who's above him?
That's how he did. Honestly,
I can only name 4.
they was naming a bunch of people. Name your 4, and I'll tell you who else.
So above Chris Paul, you have Steph Curry is 1. Then you have Kyrie is another point guard. Then you have Lillard is another point guard. That's 3. And then the 4th point guard that I'm putting over Chris Paul, I don't have one.
Jamal Murray.
Okay.
There you go, Jamal Murray. I don't know why I always put Maul as a 2. I'm sorry. Jamal Murray.
So this is what happens. They were saying LeBron James is the point guard.
He's not.
He is. It's not fair because he's not a point guard. But they were saying he plays point guard. He's a point guard. They're saying Luka's a point guard.
He's not.
So Luka has to go.
Luka is definitely a 2.
I don't think Luka's. I think Luka is a legit point guard.
Yeah, I think he might be a legit point.
I think he's a legitimate point guard.
Okay.
But yeah, then they was talking about, obviously Damian Lillard. They was talking about Kyrie, Curry.
If you say Ben Simmons, I'll stab you because Ben Simmons is not better than Chris Paul.
No, they were saying James Harden or
not a point guard.
or Westbrook.
Westbrook is not better.
I'm not saying
both of them are better than Chris
And that's
Paul.
just Westbrook did not play well, but we'll get to Rockets later. I'll tell you about that later.
What else that they was claiming was better than Chris Paul? Yeah, that might have been it. They was trying to push him out the top 10 very hard.
Yeah,
I mean out of the top 5 at his position very hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, his nickname is Point Guard, and he's still the point guard. I said, y'all disrespectful. Chris Paul.
Do you not know that a point guard's main duty is to create offense for the rest of the team? Name me 5 players that do that better than Chris Paul.
I said I can't talk basketball with y'all because y'all don't got Chris Paul in your top 5.
Name me 5, not 5 point guards. Name me 5 players that do that better than Chris Paul.
Like I said, I had to stop having a conversation with them because it was just ludicrous. But yes, my boy Chris Paul, superstar in the league still, at age 35. Cool.
I would actually.
AJ Redick? Wait a minute. This is really messing with your boy.
What's who's next?
wait. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I never said where was win or loss for me. I think it's a win for the Thunder because I think SGA he learned a lot from Chris Paul in that 1 year. So I think, and he'll be like the lead point guard going forward. He's what they're building around right now. We saw what Lou Dort did to James Harden in that one playoff game. Hey, it's James Harden. You do it like that, you deserve some props. They got some athletes on there like Hamidou Diallo.
Yes.
And then they have the Clippers draft pick, and then the Clippers those draft picks are looking better because Paul George and Kawhi are both like if they like disappoint again, like they might leave, and then their team is gonna be bad, and then those draft picks will be really high, so that's why I say it's a one for me.
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship. Nobody gonna see
This is
me.
not my favorite rocket ship. A rocket ship. So my favorite. But yeah, talking about the Rockets, they get a W because they finally decided that small ball is not gonna work and got rid of D'Antoni and brought in somebody else.
Actually, D'Antoni said he wasn't coming back. I believe they wholeheartedly thought they was gonna bring him back.
Honestly, I think what happened is because also I got a report this morning that Daryl Morey has stepped down for being the GM. I feel like the owner wanted to rehire your boy D'Antoni,
and Daryl Morey couldn't make it happen.
And Daryl Morey couldn't make it happen, and so the owner was like, "So either you leave, or I get rid of you. Which one do you think is better for your image?" But because of that, they have to do a front office rebuild. Will turn into a roster rebuild.
And from what I hear, they're just gonna promote the assistant GM to the main GM now.
And that's fine. Anything better than what they're doing. I just need this small ball thing. Like it's cute. It works in small bursts, but
because every team uses it, here and there.
The Rockets I think the problem with the Rockets is they kept losing to the Warriors. And they kept getting beat by the Warriors, and they couldn't find out how to get over the hump of the Warriors. So they tried to become the Warriors.
I think the problem with the Rockets is they play too much like robots. There's not because like it's a lot of ISO ball and it's a lot of analytics that goes into how they're playing.
It's a lot of ISO ball, but I think also that's D'Antoni's system that they don't have to work through anymore.
And then with Russ, he conformed to the Rockets of shooting way too many threes, and we don't know Russ to be a shooter like that. And,
he was shooting less threes with the Rockets.
Well, no, not at first.
After they traded Clint Capella, he started shooting less.
Then they traded Clint Capella, and he flourished for the first about a week or two after that, and then the efficiency numbers started to drop back to reality, and then we get to the playoffs. And now he's chucking up shots. Like, Russ, that's not what you do.
He does chuck up shots. He just doesn't make them. That is what he does. He chucks up shots. It's Russell Westbrook. That's why Kevin Durant didn't want to play with him.
Yeah, but see, that's when he was like picking his spots, choosing his spots. With the Rockets this season, he was just getting the ball in random spots and saying, well, why not?
This is what's expected from me, right? This is what y'all want, right? All right.
Well, that's all everybody else in your team does. That's why we got rid of Clint Capella, because he don't do it. So I guess I'm gonna do it for y'all. Get rid of me too. I thought we traded Clint Capella to open the floor for me to drive, but I guess y'all just want me to just.
Yeah, so I give them a W because
L.
Well, for the season, I give them an L.
Yeah, me too, L.
But looking towards next season, I feel like they're going to be there. I give them a W for how they ended the season because they realizing that this just ain't gonna work. I don't think this is gonna mean that Harden and Westbrook are gonna be split up.
Yeah, no, I don't see that.
I just feel like that means that they're gonna retool the roster around them a little bit better and play a different offense that suits both of them. Because one thing that the Rockets did do, like Shadai pointed out, was play a lot of iso ball. When Harden had the ball, Rusty didn't move. When Rusty had the ball, Brody didn't go nowhere. Like they played very like it was like 4-on-5, depending on which one of them had the ball, because the other one was checked out and wasn't doing nothing. They didn't play together.
Yeah, they didn't
played
move without the ball.
They played on the same team, but they didn't play together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like next season they will do that better.
Yeah, you got to work to move without the ball. I mean, you get the ball in spots you like, open spots. But next up we have Denver.
We did Denver.
Oh, we did Denver already.
Thanks.
Okay, we had the Clippers. They get an L from everybody. I'm speaking for all four of us, and there's only 3 of us in here. They get an L because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard all season have been load managing so that they be ready for the playoffs. They get to the playoffs and get knocked out in the second round.
And their excuse is, well, our chemistry wasn't there.
From a 3.
Well, because if y'all would play together, y'all would get some chemistry.
You was up 3-1, and you were supposed to have 2 superstars that Paul George said at the beginning of the year. You got 2 guys that can get you a bucket and 2 guys that can stop the other guy from getting the bucket. Well, you didn't do neither one of them. Neither
But
of y'all.
smart.
Lost because Paul George wasn't there the whole playoffs, and Kawhi Leonard decided in Game 7 he wasn't gonna go either. He said, "Why Paul George get to not do that? I gotta play the game."
Smart, but
dude, no,
Paul
I don't
George-
hear nothing.
no.
It's a very good day because I don't like the Clippers.
No. But Paul George, he built himself a new house with all those bricks. Like, isn't that a good thing? He was brick, side of the backboard, brick.
All I gotta say is Paul George needs to step it up in the playoffs. Ever since he gave himself that playoff P nickname, he been playoff piss poor performance. What?
Way off P.
Way off P.
Hey, hit the side of the backboard like your name is Blake Griffin.
Airball. Like you don't play basketball at all.
Y'all at home watching this, y'all seen the thumbnail, didn't you?
Also, I think Montrezl Harrell off of that team, he took a major L because it was a contract year for him, and he did not play really well in the playoffs.
And he's racist.
Yeah, with the Luka Doncic thing.
Yeah, he ain't have to do all that. And we saw Patrick Beverley, all he did was bark all year.
Yeah, I think the Clippers they need a leader, like a vocal leader, because I don't know Paul George.
Leader. He's a great vocal leader. He just can't play in the playoffs.
Who?
Until Paul George has a decent playoff run.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that. I said, well, because it can't be Paul George because when you shooting 6 for 22, ain't nobody gonna listen to you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like the reports that came out that when Paul George was like, everybody just come back and let's run it back next year, and they said he got eye rolls from the locker room.
Yeah,
and
then he don't even have to, because you're supposed to elevate your game in the playoffs. Jamal Murray showed that. Guys like Donovan Mitchell showed that. Paul George,
Jimmy Butler
have a season where he's just barely under his regular season performance, I'll take it as a W. I just need production from him that's like at least 46-47% from the field. I just need smart shots. You got Kawhi Leonard on the team. You can get smart shots. You're not the only guy who has to have the scoring load. You got Lou Will.
I mean, Lou Will didn't play well either. So.
Nobody on the Clippers played well.
That's because Lou Will was too busy eating lemon pepper and throwing money at strippers.
Lemon pepper Lou.
First of all, he didn't throw money at the strippers.
Oh, that's what you think. He was in there.
He just picked up the wings.
He was in there.
He walked through, got the wings, and left.
Okay.
Lou Will with 2 girlfriends was being very wholesome and just wanted some chicken.
Okay. Yep. All right. Should I? W or L?
L. Like what?
L,
Like
L, L.
how's it anything else than L?
From all four of us, and
No.
it's only 3 people sitting here.
I'm gonna say what Shannon Sharp said. Ain't he the sideboard? Ain't he the one that said he was the new king of LA? Ain't he the one that said he was the best player? He was taking over. None of that happened.
And then Stephen A. Smith, he said that like a reliable source told him that Kawhi said that tell LeBron to stop being scared of guarding me in the playoffs, and then he got bounced out of the second round.
He couldn't match up with LeBron in the playoffs. He never got the chance to. So moving on.
But he had the chance. Jamal Murray just told him he couldn't have it.
And then Paul George was like, "Yeah, I'm the Nuggets today."
The number one seed, the number one reason that we're all here today, because the Lakers are champions. If we did not win a chip, okay, if somehow the Heat upset us and they won a chip, I do not know if I would be filming this video today. I might have ran away.
I would have still filmed the video, but I would have been a little disappointed, but been okay, but very disappointed because they had to do it for Kobe this year. I have my own personal
R.I.P.
reservations.
Gianna Bryant.
I have my own personal reservations about LeBron.
I've never been a LeBron fan.
Me
Probably never will be. But I do respect that he was able to win number 17 in LA. Now, all you Celtics fans out there, don't say nothing to me. You don't have nothing on us. That was all y'all had left was one extra championship. Now y'all don't got that. So don't.
I mean, but when you have a tie, which team gets the first, they usually break the tie.
No, I don't care. They don't have nothing.
I don't care. I don't care.
They can't say, "Oh, we got number 17 first." Okay, well, who's won a championship most recently? Y'all ain't done it. It was us. So y'all ain't got nothing on us. Lakers take a W for the season. 1, 2, 3. W. Thank you. Who's next?
That would be the last team in the
No,
NBA.
I'm saying which one of y'all is next.
But yeah, so it's obviously a W. There's no way you can get an L after you win the finals of the NBA championship.
Don't make sense.
Like, there's literally nothing. Like, the only way that you would get an L after winning the championship is if you decide that all 5 of your starters and your coach is going to retire the next season. Like, there's literally no way.
And they still have Alex Caruso.
Like, there's literally no way to for them to have an L after winning. So, Warriors.
I think Alex Caruso should have won Finals MVP.
Had their time at the top, but I think the Lakers are going to reclaim the status as that team in the West. And even though the Warriors will be better next season, I still am picking LA to, go back to back and win it all again.
Who in the Warriors is guarding Alex Caruso? Name me one.
Shamar, stop.
Who is Caruso? Stop. Please go over there, okay?
I just want to talk about Anthony Davis. He got out of that Pelican situation, which was, first round exits, or not making the playoffs at all. And now he's
twice.
Yeah, he went 2 or 3 times, and then they got swept.
Round exit.
So yeah, and then he he gets to LA. LeBron promises to get a ring, and he gets his ring, and good for him. Also Dwight second step with LA. He gets his ring this time. Other players
for his ego, and he did that to a T this season.
Right, and then was rewarded by getting able to start in the finals and showing that that's where he deserves to be.
Then
on that stage.
Even though in the last game 6, he didn't play at all. Just like every other game where he didn't play, or every other game where he played limited minutes, he was one of the top 2 energetic guys sitting on that bench cheering. It was always him and JaVale.
Okay, so before we end, I got one last winner.
And J.R. Smith needs to find his shirt.
Nah, JR. I'm with you, JR.
For the YouTube, it's kids on here. It's kids on here.
I'm with you, JR.
It's kids on here.
Shirtless Sam.
It's
Shirtless
kids.
Sam, JR. Let's
It's kids
get
on
it.
here.
We out here, baby.
It's kids
Yes, sir.
We used in the filming of this video. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to say the NBA fans are winners because we didn't know with this whole COVID situation if we were gonna get to resume the season, and then we had a great season, great storylines. Clippers
No,
won
no,
the
no,
3-1.
no. Because I didn't get to watch the Michelob Ultra. I ain't get no tickets for Michelob Ultra to watch the game and be on the game and on the screen. So this an L
for you.
I got to watch Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell drop 50 twice in the same series as each other.
Right. Back and forth.
I gotta watch Luka.
You gonna drop 50 on me? I'm gonna drop 50 on you.
I gotta watch Luka get a 30-point triple-double game winner off the Clippers. Yeah. I got to watch Jimmy Butler get a 40-point triple-double, still game 3 without Bam and Goran Dragic. Yeah, it was a
30-point triple-double.
I got to see a lot of exciting basketball. I got to see Dame go stupid. I got to see the Suns actually win games. It was a
Jamal Murray said Jamal Murray is like the perfect combination of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. He said, I'm gonna just take the whole backcourt and be both of them. He got the logo Lillard 3-point deep shooting. He's very crafty inside, just like CJ. That man is crazy.
That boy, get tough. But there was our Western Conference Finals winners and losers. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, fire it up down there, man. Really let us know what y'all thinking about. And we'll see you in another episode of 10 Talk, Sports Talk. I don't know. We may just stick to basketball. We might talk about the off season a little bit, some moves. We may do some other sports.
Spam the numbers 2 and 24 in the comments.
Spam number 8. Spam number 10. Jenna was 4. Jenna was 4.
She was 2. That's where I got 2 from.
With the 2
from Gianna, she was number 2.
But what you said 2, 4.
I spam the numbers 2 and 24.
Oh, I didn't hear the 2 and 24. I heard 2 and 4.
Spam numbers 2, 24, 8, and 10 if you want to.
That's Kobe's USA number for y'all that don't know. But yeah, we just so glad that you guys are still supporting us and here with us and watching these videos, man. We just gonna keep making fire content for y'all, so y'all can have something to watch, something to do, enjoy our family, because I enjoy them.
Yeah.